Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Sargel18. Episode 34. Who is Lucifer in Revelation and the Apocalypse? Plus, more demon pictures, and also a talk about astrology and my natal chart. This is going to be pretty good. It'll be a quick one. It's only 9 pages I wrote. I don't know how I do that sometimes, but Devron, he's right there with me. Okay, now anyone in any position of vulnerability needs to know one thing first. Know thy enemy. For this video, that enemy is Lucifer. He's been our adversary since before the Garden of Eden, and now in Revelation. So I'm going to share some information about him that many people don't know and may help you out in Revelation and apocalyptic events. Let's start at the beginning. God created Lucifer on the first day of creation, right in the center of the so-called Big Bang. Let there be light, God announced, and there was light. And God created his number one angel and called him the light bearer and morning star. We call him Lucifer. At that time, God created all the angels and cherubs and beings also. But Lucifer was his best creation overall. Lucifer would call God Father. And just remember, Lucifer was an archangel, a very special one. But that's it. God's son is Jesus. God charged Lucifer with many heavenly deeds and responsibilities. He controlled the heavens, stars, and all other beings in the heavenly creation. So in other words, he was right under God. He controlled everything. He was the top boss of everything up to one point. He wasn't equal to God, his creator, but eventually, because of one ability that God gave Lucifer first, above all others. I don't know, you think Lucifer's just like demon, dragon, blood, guts, head spinning. No, there's a lot more. And that, I'm sorry, my train of thought off there. But eventually, because of one ability that God gave Lucifer first above all others, and that's called free will. Then the rest got it. Then the rest of the heavenly body got it. Lucifer was the first one to be granted free will. A whole new idea that God had. You see, God does not stay stagnant. God changes things all the time. And just that when God changes things, you might say, you know what? About 10,000 years from now, I'm going to put that into this civilization. See what they deal with that. And to him, that's like, bang. Oh. The right to make your own choice in life, free will, and that became Lucifer's downfall, the fact that he was given free will. Because he's under the free will deal, just like everyone else, including us are, including humanity. Now here's a list of some of the abilities God granted Lucifer upon creation. Perfect wisdom. He could rationalize everything that was created by God down to the tiniest atom and molecule. Perfect wisdom. Musical genius. Basically, all music came from Lucifer in the beginning. That's where it all started, music, through Lucifer. He had radiant beauty. He was so beautiful that he walked always on beautiful crystals, all lit up, and all the heavens, all the beings of heaven would bow down to Lucifer because they knew he was God's favorite and the boss. He gave Lucifer authority over nations. Nations doesn't mean countries. It means worlds and universes, all in the many rooms of God's mansion, or otherwise called the multiverse. This is why he was called the Morning Star, because of this fact. Again, he had many important positions in heaven, just as I said, basically, the boss of heaven. That's what God granted him. And God granted him immense perfect strength. He could do anything and get the job done. No equal. When he was called the light bearer, he was reflecting the light of God's glory. And that's how he got that name. God gave him that name. Now, God gave him intelligence that was beyond measure. Real smart. I mean, super smart. Our smartest people here on earth are dumbbells compared to his pinky in smartness. And then the last, again, free will. He was the first to get it. So Lucifer was granted a lot of really cool stuff. Perfect beauty, perfect strength, perfect mind, abilities, walking on lighted crystals all the time. He had it made. Now, remember, I'm from the third level of heaven, and then there's the second level and the first level, and where Jesus came from. Okay, the first level. So I'm in the bottom level of heaven. But from what we know in heaven, God sent his prize angel, Lucifer, to the Garden of Eden to bless God's greatest creation. But when he found out that God gave Adam and Eve free will also, his ego couldn't handle it. How dare God give humans his greatest gift, and the same gift he gave me and the hierarchy of angels? How dare God, pass that on to humans? That's when Lucifer used his own free will to trick Eve and then Adam through them having free will of choice, and got them to do the one thing God said not to never ever do: eat the apple. See, at that point, when Lucifer was doing that to Eve, to eat the apple, Eve had a choice not to listen to Lucifer, but like I did when he tried to bribe me with the necklace and jewel. But she used her free will choice and ate the apple, creating sin. And we still have the effects till today. Eve created sin first. Adam then followed, but Eve was the first one. I wonder what her pronouns were. Okay, all sin was started out at that point, and Lucifer was happy in his success in showing, this is the type of ego this guy had. God, he was able to trick Adam and Eve, God's greatest hope in creation, by using free will to go against God's word. When he came back, God already knew what he did. And they went at it. Lucifer started the war in heaven, and after that loss was cast down to the pit of death and fire for eternity, which is hell. God still had a job for him, though. Use what you created in heaven and the Garden of Eden to tempt man, thus sorting out the good souls from the bad. And he's been doing that ever since. And God never wastes anything. Just because Lucifer was a jerk off to him, and God twisted it around and made him work for him personally here. Luckily, most of Lucifer's abilities were stripped away as he fell. But what he has left would be beyond our understanding in power and ability to get what he wants done. I mean, we're talking about a being that, as far as the average human would be concerned, has the power of God. And he did. Almost. When he came to heaven and running everything and reality and earth and universes and different planets and things and black holes, Lucifer had all that. God gave it to him and gave him the ability to handle it. Kind of like Elon Musk, how he can just keep creating fantastic things and so fast and get it all done. And it's all alien technology with Elon, though. We'll talk about that one time. Plus, Lucifer is able to command the fallen angels to do his bidding as demons and other nightmarish creatures, which I've shown you many, many of them. Lucifer can't enter our reality, at least not yet, but his creations can, mainly in energy form, orbs. And they can possess control through influence. They can possess control through influence and become solid, since the doorway has been open since 1998. And this whole thing is about grabbing souls, thus screwing up God's idea. He knows he can never win over God and Jesus. He just does his job, and that's it. That's what we know in heaven. And we know a lot more, but I don't want to bore you for like 2 days worth of videos on it. Like 10-hour videos each. But believe me, Lucifer is one powerful being. Thank God he couldn't defeat God. Because if he did, wow. Well, Harris would be president now. Okay. All this is over grabbing souls. You know, unbelievable. Heaven's third level and the souls that dwell there, like myself, have a certain way of dealing with Lucifer. It doesn't have any effect there in heaven, Lucifer's effect. There's no evil in heaven. There's nothing like that. Oh, until Lucifer started it, and then God, you know, cleaned house. Lucifer now is just heavenly knowledge, but here on earth, it's a whole different story. And believe me, when I met Jesus, the one thing I realized, that I was able to realize while he was talking to me, was that his vibration was so light, I knew instantly that negativity could never be there. Negativity's too heavy, like lead. Jesus' vibration is like light and beautiful. Like when Devron took me to Silver City, the hand of God. Like that. Now, once a soul incarnates as a human being, it's under every influence Lucifer has here. Every single second of life from birth to death. So, what are we now up against in Revelation? We're up against the most powerful being of heaven who has fallen, but still is powerful and has a mission to destroy humanity and take their souls. He's hated us from the beginning. Let's just say he's able to trick. Let's just say if he was able to trick, because Lucifer is a great deceiver and liar, and he never keeps a deal, ever, ever, ever. Don't ever make that mistake, because millions have. All right, let me get it again. All right. Now, let's say Lucifer was able to trick half the people who ever lived on Earth from the beginning. According to estimates, that's 117 billion people have lived and died on Earth since man was created. That means he already has 500 million souls. And he's about to snag 500 million more, at least, through Revelation and the Apocalypse. 500 million souls he's been able to get his hands on. About half the population. From the beginning. Because remember, all this with Lucifer and all that happened before before the beginning of man, I would say. Yeah. Alright, so now you have a better idea of what we're up against. And your only defense is your free will choices. Choose right and keep your soul. Choose wrong and lose your soul. Now let's look at some Vortex pics. Lucifer is a scumbag. A jerk-off. I don't think there's enough names I could call him for being what he is. And anytime, I'm just going to say this, and we truly believe this in heaven, all Lucifer has to do, and really mean it, is ask God for forgiveness, and he can go back to heaven. But his ego, that's a big ego. That's a problem. Okay, now what I want to talk about is I'm going to show you some pics. And first I'm going to talk about a little bit about astrology. I'm considered a master astrologer. I've been studying astrology and people's astrology intensely for the last 36 years. And I'm real good at it. I come here, I'll pick you apart, I'll even tell you when you're going to die. It's all there in your chart. So, I told you I passed every test. I passed every test that anybody, any government, Disney, all these other corporations that threw at me, passed them with all flying colors. So now I'm going to show you a person in history's natal chart. When they were born, this is what their chart, astrological chart, looks like. And that person is Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds and painters and artists and thinkers out of all humanity. And he lived around 1500, and that's his chart. Now when you look at his chart, to make a person kind of like whole, now we're dealing with Leonardo da Vinci here, a super genius, right? You see the way the little planets are all spread around, the little glyphs are all spread around that circle. For people who don't know astrology and looking at this, they're spaced. And when they're spaced like that, that's when you have a person who has pretty much a whole personality and a regular old person, let's say. But Da Vinci obviously was not a regular old person. Now here's mine. Astrologers, including Robert Hand, have studied my chart intensively for years. And the only thing they can say is, holy shit. Who the hell are you? And this is what my chart looks like. Now, you see that round circle again. And I got a couple of planets at the bottom loose and on top in the right quarter on top and all that. And I'm Cancer rising, Pisces on the top. I'm going to be a Capricorn in my next life. But look down at the 5th house. The 5th house represents the sun and childlike nature. Look at all the planets and asteroids there in that house. 6 of them conjuncting in Scorpio, coming in Libra, and then taking the art of war of Sagittarius onward. People don't have charts like this. This is just one of those things, again, that I told you, any test that I've been given, whether I knew it or not, I didn't know what my chart was until they took it. And then they all started freaking out. Then I started studying. That was way back, I think, in 1989. And I passed the test. I have such power, a power punch of energy. That's what keeps me from getting killed. One of the things that keeps me from getting killed at the Vortex. And when I want to turn that on, using either magic, psychic work, alchemy, metaphysics, reality, I cut right through the bullshit. That's why I meet all these creatures and beings from all over the multiverse and in our own history. Which next week I'm going to put out the video of one of the spectacular things, because that's what the government, NASA, called it. Said my ability is spectacular, that I can do with the Vortex, and it's going to blow you away. So we'll get to that next week. But here I'm going to show you some more pictures from the Vortex. Here, I told you, Sandra shoots the Macavas with the little alien inside it, if you watch my videos. And they're invading. They were invading in 1998 in masses. Well, here's a picture of that. Look at them all coming through. One after another after another. Now, when these Merkava multiverse UFOs, each carrying an alien, come through into our reality, they vibrate in. Like whatever plane of reality they're on, they start shaking really fast. Kind of like a tuner. You know, a metal tuner for a piano. Tuning fork. Like that. And then they create these waves of energy, colored energy that comes out of them. And then bang, they're here and they're going about their business. Sandra took this picture of that. with regular film. Now, if you look to the top left, you see the white Merkaba UFO, and you see it's fuzzy looking because it's vibrating. Now, it just came through a blue barrier of energy, a red barrier of energy that it created as it came through, and there it is. And in a second, it stopped, I'm quite sure, and went about its way. These are pictures that nobody has. They don't have this stuff. Sandra got that one, though, and that was fantastic. Okay. Oh, here, I'm going to show you. Remember I told you I met the ghost of that bad school teacher back at the Vortex? It's a legend in Wanacue and all that, and I took her picture. She had the big bell. I'm sure you watched that video a couple videos back. She has a big bell, and I show you, and she was ringing it at me. Well, she came at me about a month later. And she didn't come nice this time. This time she came freaking out and screaming. And I took the flash and destroyed it. But here's what she looks like then. As you can see her, you see her coming at me. You see her face. It looks all ugly and weird. Her hair is all wild and stuff. And she's coming right at me. This is the untouched picture. Now what I did was, I just brought it up bigger so you can see her face. Look at that. She thought she was going to scare me and attack me. But I got that picture. And there she is. All messed up. These things, I can really cause them to freak out on me. Yeah, I mean, they get real pissed that I don't get afraid and that I destroy them. Now, I told you before, and I've shown you, I have met many ancient gods at the Vortex. What they're doing at the Vortex, that I'm not sure of. But are they there? Here is the water god Set from ancient Egypt. The picture on the left is untouched. That's how clear he came out of the water. He rose up out of the water. The orbs are there protecting me. You can see the shoreline behind him. And on the right, I just blacked out some of that, but I didn't have to do much. And there he is. Look at his face. Look at the hairpiece he's wearing and all, and his clothes. The ancient god of water of Egypt, Set. And all he said to me is, I am the god Set from Egypt. And I took the flash and he was gone. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. Oh, this is Sandra again. I was looking out over the river. People have seen this picture before, but this one I kind of like enhanced it a bit. And she took a picture of me, and looking right into her camera was a demon. And here you go. Now, I blocked me out and all that on the right. Look at this thing. It's got a tarp around its head. It's got messed up eyes and nose and everything. And it's looking right at her. Looking right at the camera. I tell you, there's definitely never a dull moment at the Vortex. At least when I'm there. I'm sorry of it. At least when I'm there. I know people, when I go there, everything happens. People have gone behind my back to get evidence so that they could become famous to the Vortex. Never once. Not even orbs. I find that fascinating. It's like I'm being protected. I got a copyright with heaven, you know. Okay, here you're going to see, these are these little light beings that like to attach themselves to people right around their legs and their ankles and suck out and make you do all kinds of weird things. Remember I talk about influence, demonic influence and all that. These are the things that cause a lot of the influence. Now here, and that's about maybe 60, 70 feet away from me up the mountain from the trail. As you can see behind it, this is a mountain. There's no lights or houses or anything. Not in the middle of the woods. And here, excuse me, I made a close-up of it. You see it wiggling there? They wiggle like worms on the ground, but in the air. And then they have a mouth, and I'm going to find a picture with the one that I actually got the mouth that it uses to latch onto you. And and you got to watch. Most of the murders that happen that sound completely weird and like, what, the husband was a good guy his whole life, he turned around and murdered his wife, like, for nothing? That's these things making them do that. And one way to protect yourself from that is St. Dominic medal to protect you from possession and influence. I wear it here. I wear it here. St. Dominic. Now, I'm going to show you a person from heaven, from the Silver City, that comes every now and then, back in the 90s, when I was at the Vortex alone, and would talk to me and teach me things. And he was definitely pretty cool, but he's in energy, he's in soul form, he's not solid. I'm not sure if he can do that way, that easy, but this is what he looks like. Oh, and the mushroom means wisdom. And why he appears with a mushroom, I never asked him. All right. Now, there it is. Now, you see the mushroom on the right, and if you look to the left, you see him standing there. And even there, you can make out his eyes and his nose and his body and his outfit. He's wearing an outfit, which I find very surprising. Let me get to the better picture there. I enhanced it so you can see what you're looking at. There. Bald head, large eyes, nose, mouth, neck. He's got like a Star Trek outfit on going around him. This is a soul from the Silver City in heaven that works with me. I used to call him an elder, but now I know who he is. Okay. Alright, I guess that's it on the pictures, huh? I hope I filled your need for some cool pictures tonight. Why I wanted to talk about Lucifer is, one, because the vortex is fucked right now. It's wide open, and these things and other things in multitudes are coming in. And people are going to know how to handle that. And you're going to learn. You don't have to listen to me. You're going to learn just through life, like you learned to live in a fucked up reality for the last 4 years with the Biden administration. See how you had to put up with that? Well, that's the same way, putting up with things. And you're going to have to put up with what's coming. So the best thing to know is everything about what's coming at you that's evil. And you might forget a lot of it, but when the time comes and one of these things all of a sudden appear in your living room as you're popping popcorn and watching HBO or something, you'll know what to do. And I will teach you different ways to protect yourself. And I have been, but I will teach more. So I want everybody to please stay prayed up, and peace out.